You think you're distracted because you're weak, right? Because you can't focus, because something is wrong with you, because everyone else seems to be getting it together while your mind jumps like it's wired to chaos. But here's the truth no one told you. Your brain was trained to be this way. Not by accident, not by biology, but by the world you live in. From TikTok scrolls in the subway, to constant notifications at work, to walking into a Starbucks and seeing 5 screens flashing at once. Your attention has been slowly rewired, almost without your permission. And if you feel overwhelmed in places like Times Square, downtown LA, Miami, Houston, or anywhere the noise never ends, it's not because you're weak. It's because you were never taught how to take back your mind. But today, you will.
You didn't become distracted overnight. It didn't happen because you're lazy or unmotivated or not disciplined enough. It happened slowly, quietly, invisibly. The same way people in a city stop hearing the sound of traffic after years of living beside it. Your brain adjusted. From the moment you wake up, your mind is pulled in 10 different directions before you even leave your bed. Your phone lights up, and instantly you're not choosing how your day starts. Something else chooses for you. A notification, a message, a reel, a video, an email. Before you even stand up, your attention has already been divided. Americans live in one of the most overstimulated cultures on Earth. Every app wants your eyes. Every company wants your time. Every platform wants your mind. You go to work, and the cycle continues. You try to focus, but your brain feels foggy, anxious, restless. You open a browser tab to search for something simple, and somehow you end up jumping between 8 different pages, reading half of everything and finishing nothing. Then you blame yourself. But think about it. How can your mind stay focused when it never gets a moment of quiet? When everything around you, your phone, your job, your city, your environment, is specifically designed to capture your attention, not strengthen it. You were trained to crave noise. You were trained to chase stimulation. You were trained to avoid silence. This is why the moment you sit alone, the moment nothing is happening, your brain starts screaming for something to click, open, swipe, or watch. But here's what most people don't realize. Your attention didn't disappear. It was fragmented. And anything that can be fragmented can be rebuilt. And that's what you're about to learn.
You've probably noticed this. Every time you try to focus, your brain feels like a wild horse pulling in 10 different directions. You sit down to work, and suddenly your mind wants to check your phone, open another tab, get a snack, reorganize your room, or think about something completely irrelevant. And for years, you believed this meant there was something wrong with you, that you were lazy, undisciplined, unmotivated. But here is the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Your brain was trained to be this way. Not by accident and not by nature, but by repetition.
Think about your average day in America. Even if you live somewhere quiet, like a small neighborhood in Ohio or a peaceful suburb in Oregon, your mind is constantly bombarded with invisible noise. Notifications, ads, endless scrolling, non-stop opinions, constant choices. And every one of these tiny interruptions rewired your brain just a little bit more, teaching it one lesson over and over. Distraction feels good. Focus feels painful. That's why whenever you try to concentrate, your mind fights you. It's not trying to sabotage you. It's simply following the pattern it learned thousands of times. A pattern designed by companies, apps, platforms, and algorithms whose only goal is to keep you wired, restless, and craving the next hit of stimulation. And here's the twist that most Americans never realize. You weren't trained for attention. You were trained for reaction. Every ping, buzz, swipe, and scroll shaped your neural pathways. Your brain learned to chase micro rewards instead of long-term goals. It learned to prefer noise over silence, speed over depth, instant gratification over meaning. And the craziest part? It happened so slowly, so subtly, that you never even noticed the moment focus stopped being natural. Now compare this to ancient Korean practices, not the romanticized movie version, the real everyday discipline that shaped generations. In Korea's past, young men studying in mountain temples or older scholars living in quiet villages weren't just meditating. They were training their minds through silence, slowness, repetition, and stillness. The exact opposite of what modern life teaches. Where Western culture teaches the brain to chase stimulation, old Korean culture trained the brain to endure it. Where Western life encourages constant reaction, Korean philosophy encouraged deliberate response. Where the modern world rewards speed, Korean tradition rewarded depth. And this is where everything changes, because once you understand how your brain was trained, you can retrain it. Not by forcing yourself to focus through sheer willpower, but by reshaping the environment that shaped you. The truth is, focus isn't a personality trait. It's not something you're born with or something only disciplined people have. Focus is a skill, and skills are built through consistent, intentional practice. But here's the question most people avoid. Are you willing to sit in silence long enough to reclaim your mind? Can you endure the discomfort of stillness? Can you build a different identity than the one the modern world forced onto you? Because your brain doesn't want clarity. It wants what is familiar. It wants chaos because chaos is what it knows. And this is where your transformation begins, not by fighting distraction, but by understanding it. Not by blaming yourself, but by seeing the training behind your impulses. Because once you see the trap clearly, it loses its power over you. This is the moment when your mind stops being an enemy and becomes something far more important, your responsibility. And the next part of the journey will show you exactly how to rewire it back into something strong, stable, calm, and capable of deep, unshakable focus in a world designed to destroy it.
When you finally begin to notice how your attention has been shaped, not stolen, not broken, but trained, something strange happens. The world starts to look different. The noise you once thought was just life becomes visible. You start realizing that every time you reach for your phone without thinking, every time your mind suddenly wanders in the middle of a conversation, every time you feel restless for no clear reason, it wasn't a personal flaw. It was conditioning. It was repetition. It was architecture. And once you see the architecture, you can walk out of it. This is where the Korean perspective becomes powerful. In Korean cultural philosophy, attention isn't something you fight. It's something you shape. It's a muscle, a direction, a discipline of presence. While the modern world is busy chasing stimulation, Korean wisdom often teaches the opposite. The strength of stillness, the sharpness that comes from quiet, the clarity that emerges when the mind is no longer being dragged around. So in this part of your journey, I want you to imagine an older Korean master, not a fantasy hero, not a monk in a temple, but a real man shaped by years of difficulty, sitting in a small room overlooking the mountains of Gangwon-do. Nothing fancy, just a wooden desk, a cup of barley tea, and silence. But his mind is sharper than most people living inside cities full of screens and notifications, not because he escaped chaos, but because he trained himself to take back control from it. He would tell you something simple. Your mind goes where you have taught it to go. If you've trained it to chase noise, it will chase noise. If you train it to hold a moment, it will hold. If you train it to breathe before reacting, it will breathe. If you train it to focus, even for 30 seconds at a time, it will eventually reshape itself. Americans often think they need a full lifestyle overhaul to fix their mind, but the truth is easier and harder at the same time. You need small moments of intentional attention repeated until your brain learns a new rhythm. Neuroscience confirms this, Korean tradition confirms this. Your own life has probably shown signs of this without you realizing. For example, think about the last time you took a quiet walk. No music, no podcasts, no distractions. Didn't your mind feel different afterward? More open, more steady? That wasn't random. That was your brain slipping into a state it was designed for, a state you rarely give it. Or think about the rare moment when you were fully absorbed, working on something meaningful, talking to someone who really mattered, building something with your hands, cooking a meal you cared about. Time felt different, didn't it? You weren't scattered, you weren't lost, you were present. That presence is what your brain is starving for. And now imagine practicing that intentionally. Not perfectly, not for hours, just consistently. Because once you develop even a little control over where your attention goes, everything changes. Anxiety reduces, overthinking slows down, decisions become clearer, social situations become easier. Discipline stops being a fight and starts becoming a natural extension of your new mental rhythm. This part of the video is not here to lecture you. It's here to remind you that you're not broken. The modern world is simply engineered to pull your attention everywhere except where you want it to go. But the Korean approach teaches you one crucial thing. Attention is a craft, not a condition. You shape it with repetition, not willpower. And as soon as you understand that, the next step becomes unavoidable. You must start training your mind the same way the world trained you to lose it. Because if your distractions were built through repetition, then your focus can be rebuilt the exact same way.
You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not bad at focusing.
You're simply running a mental program that was installed without your permission. And every day you continue to live without questioning it, the program grows stronger. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your attention is a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through resistance, repetition, and deliberate training. This is why in Korean monastic traditions, warriors and scholars practiced gyeonggong, the discipline of shifting from chaos to absolute presence, not by forcing focus, but by creating the inner conditions where focus becomes natural. And you can do the same. Start small. 1 moment of silence before touching your phone. 1 intentional breath before responding to someone. 1 decision each morning. What is the one thing that actually matters today? Because when you choose your focus, you reclaim your life. When you direct your attention, you direct your outcomes. And when you stop fighting your brain and start training it, something incredible happens. Distractions lose their power over you. Your mind becomes quieter. Your priorities become clearer. And suddenly the world stops pulling you because you've become the one who pulls your own direction. You are not the victim of your brain. You are the sculptor of it. And if you begin today, even with the smallest shift, you will look back in a few months and realize that your life didn't change because the world finally calmed down. It changed because you finally learned to command your attention. Your focus is your freedom, and it's time to take it back.